I finally joined the drama class in my senior year of high school. I graduated high school 2004, the 8th of June, Tuesday. But it's like I waited that long to take that elective. We have a few electives where we can pick whatever class we want that are not the required classes. You know, you have required classes, and they tell you you got to take this class, you have to take that class. But then they have a few classes where you get to pick. You know, maybe you want this class, maybe you want like a woods class, or the debate class, or metals, or maybe just like PE, physical education. You run around and play sports, and especially basketball, since I love basketball and I've always wanted to be tall, black, and in the NBA, you know, playing basketball with professionals like Michael Jordan. And PE is pretty good, but I did different classes, different electives during my 4 years of high school. But my last year, my senior year, 2003, 2004, I decided, I can't remember exactly how I decided and all the things that happened, but I just know that I started doing drama class, and I did the first one, the drama one class, and it's just for like one semester. First, so so it's just the first half of my senior year. So that's just like the end of the year 2003. Uh, you know, the beginning of my senior year, and it ends actually like in like January. We have the finals week, and then like the beginning of the next semester is like maybe the end of January or in the beginning of February, and I took the second class of drama 2, and so I think that's what happened. So I spent my whole entire last year of high school taking drama classes, and it was really really interesting. And you can think about all the other things that are related to drama in my life. I've always liked playing by myself first, and then as I got older, I started playing with other people more, being more social, playing with other people. But the younger I was, the more I was by myself. But nonetheless, the creativity was in, the creativity, the creativity was still inside of me, regardless of whether I was by myself or not. Whether I was by myself or not, I was still creative and innovating, and I used my imagination, and I wanted to do things, come up with things, you know, play, play by myself, rehearse stories, think of stories, and to play like a lot of kids do, and that contributes contributes to the ability to act, to be in a play, to be in a movie, to be in a play, to be in a play, to be in a movie, to be in a TV show, to be in something where you're on a stage and you're in front of people and you're telling a story with other people. When you play by yourself, you're practicing that. Even though you're by yourself, someday you will start doing that with other people, and you will start acting with other people and socializing with other people and playing with other people and interacting with other people and all these different things that involves you and another person or other people going back and forth with talking or actions, different things, and those things blossom over time, but it takes a lot of time, and it starts by yourself, and like it's like a revolution that starts with yourself. You have to start with yourself, like the man in the mirror with Jackson. Michael Jackson sang a song called "The Man in the Mirror," and he says you have to start with yourself. So you start with yourself, and you work on yourself with the revolution, the inspiration, the encouragement. You work on the innovation and your intuition, your impromptu ability to come up with stuff, make up stuff like Robin Williams, the actor. You continue to work on it, and as you do it, you become more comfortable. You become more comfortable over time as you get and gain more experience in acting and being in front of people. You gain more of those different things, and at first I didn't really have as much of that as I may needed, or I may have had more than I realized, but I wasn't really totally, fully, completely, definitely aware of my confidence. I wasn't aware of my confidence right away, and the younger I was, the less aware I was of my confidence, my ability to really be in front of people and act, to tell a story, to make a movie, um, to speak in front of people, to encourage people, inspire people to be innovating, all these different things, and I was less aware of my potential, of whether or not I could do these different things in front of people. But as I got older, I started thinking about those things and trying out those things. But when I started my first year of high school, I wasn't aware, or I wasn't exactly sure if I could do drama. I kind of wanted to do it, but then I was kind of scared, so I didn't really do it. And I mean, I didn't do it. I was homeschooled. My mother helped me. She was teaching me at home, and then I started high school at the Forest Grove High School, home of the Vikings. That's our mascots. Our school colors is gold and maroon, and that's what the Vikings wear. And I may be part Viking. My ancestors, like my fathers, 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 my daddy's daddy's daddy, all the way down many years ago. Maybe I might be related to Vikings. I know that I'm related to like people from like Europe, completely Europe. I'm just European. My ancestors are European from my mother's side and my father's side. And we know more about my mother's side because my mother was not adopted, and we can look at the family history on different websites. They have the data, the information, the family trees, and we look at it and we try to trace our line back all the way down to possibly the 1500s. I don't think before the 1500s, but like there's a few different lines that I've seen on different websites like Ancestry.com. I can't remember all the different websites they have, but the one I used the most was Ancestry.com, and I would like to go back there and maybe have some money and pay for like a premium service, like a subscription to their website, so I can get access to some of their information. Whereas like you look it up, it's like, oh, this information is about something that happened in Canada or in other countries, or it's a world census of information about when somebody's born, or stuff about when somebody's married, or when somebody's dead, or where somebody lived years ago. And they say, well, you have to give us money if you want to look at this, to learn more. So maybe someday I'll go back and give them money. And I was looking at the information for the last few years. I don't know how many years, but we started doing this maybe around 2005 at the earliest. I started doing it. My mother started doing it. My brother started doing it. I don't know about my two sisters, but we started looking into it, and then we can look at some of the family lines from my mother, and it can go back to like the 1800s or 1700s or 1500s. Like we have the Moorheads, the Picketts, the Pickells, the Smiths. There's probably a few others last names. Those are last names. But then my father, he was adopted. So on my mother's side, some of them are from like England, and I can't remember the other countries. But my father's side, his his father was born in Holland, I believe, like Amsterdam or Holland or Ireland. I can't remember which one is which. Like maybe one of them is like a city inside the country, or I forget which. I need to look it up and try to remember. Ireland is a country. Holland is like a city. What's Amsterdam? I can't remember, but it's like that's where my grandfather was. That's where my dad's dad was born. I think in 1908, and then his dad was born in the same country, maybe like Holland, or I mean Ireland, I mean like Amsterdam or something. And then his father was born possibly in Germany, which means I may be part German. But then somewhere down that line, on my mother's side or my father's side, could be a relation to the Vikings, which means that I would be related to the Vikings, which would be exciting to know that I went to the high school with the Vikings. No, I went to a high school with the Vikings, and that would inspire me to act better in my drama class in my last year of high school. I started out as a little baby, came out of my mother. I would play by myself. The older I got, the more I would play with other people. And then my brother told me about making movies, and I started writing more because I could hear better and I could learn how to talk better. And I started writing more and learning how to read better. Started doing a lot of things better. Around like when I was 8 years old, it started getting better. At 9, a little bit more better, and I started with speech therapy when I was about like 8, 9, 10 years old or so. And I did karate and Bible clubs and started playing basketball, like a local team at like an elementary school. I did that for a few years, and I did all these different things like the homeschool club and playing with friends, and I started getting better, started talking better, started thinking better, started learning better, and my mom is possibly taking care of me better. Not to say that she was taking care of me worse before, but in the sense of like at times she would she started feeding me better, maybe giving me more vitamins as I got older. I can't remember what year. Maybe I was like 10 years old, and she started giving me more vitamins, and progressively over the course of my life, she started doing things better. She started learning more about medicine, vitamins, reading all these different books, and so she started doing different things in different years. And as I got older, she started getting better with giving me better things, helping me better with the different books that can help me learn in homeschool, and even during high school, public high school, she was still helping me. And so it's like she started giving me more like vitamins and also like better food. She started cooking better. Like she started making soup with a lot of different things in it. Mostly like canned food, but not always canned food. Sometimes like frozen vegetables, and you have all these beans and sometimes fruit, and I really started liking it and eating it, and really enjoying it, and it was really exciting to like come home from even high school, and I would be able to eat it, and she would always cook it, and I was really excited about it. It was better than just eating spaghetti when I was 6 years old and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches when I was 7, and I started eating oatmeal and making my own oatmeal, cooking my own oatmeal when I was 8 years old, and then my mom started making me more soup, and so I started talking better and writing more and reading more, and my ears started getting better, especially when I was about 10 years old, and so things started getting better. And then also when I was 10 years old, at the same time all of this is happening, all these breakthroughs and revolutions, all this inspiration and innovation advancement in efficiency and effectiveness in my life. Like I said, my brother was telling me about making movies, and he started thinking about it, and he wanted to make movies, and I started thinking about it, and I wanted to make movies when I was 10 years old in the year 1995. And then I started writing a script, a story for a movie that I really wanted to make called The Power Rangers, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Go go Power Rangers, bum 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 bum. Go go Power Rangers, dun 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 dun. Bum 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 bum. Go go Power Rangers. You Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, stronger than before. Go see you, bigger than your mom. Go see you. We know to only use our weapons for defense. No one can ever bring us down. Our power lies on our side, yaddy, 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 yaddy. Go, go, Power Rangers. Ba da 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 da. Go, go, Power Rangers. Ba da da da. Go, go, Power Rangers. You Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Because I really liked the Power Rangers, and I still do to this day. I started watching the Power Rangers since it was on the air in the United States in 1993, since the Power Rangers started like in Japan or Asia a few years before that, or I don't know how many years before that, but a lot of things starts in Japan or Asia or something. You see something, you look at the bottom of it and it says made in China. You know, you have a lot of things like that, and a lot of things are coming from there. Not everything. There's certain things that people like in Europe come up with, or people in the United States they come up with that people in Asia don't have, or they don't come up with originally at first, kind of thing. But then other things, you know, other things come from Asia first, and then they spread around and they go around the world, kind of thing. And here comes Power Rangers in like the fall of 1993, and I started watching it and started becoming a fan of it. And then in 1995, you know, my life is getting better, and my brother is like, maybe our father can get us a camcorder and we can start making movies. And then I started writing a script, a story about a movie I wanted to make called The Power Rangers, because this is around the time when the first Power Rangers movie was coming out, and I really wanted to see it, but my aunt, my aunt, my aunt and uncle, Karen and Jim Williams. Karen is the sister of my mother. I was hanging out with my aunt and uncle, and they asked me what kind of movie I wanted to see. You know, during the summer, I'm hanging out with them for like 3 days, like a weekend, and I'm like, I want to see the Power Rangers, but then we ended up seeing like Apollo 13, you know, with Tom Hanks, and go, you know, that story's kind of cool too. You go out in outer space and you try to land on the moon. But I wanted to see the Power Rangers, but I didn't. But then later on, I was able to see it, and like we ended up buying the movie, and I was able to watch it anytime I want with our VCR. We've had a lot of different VCRs. You know, they break over time, and you have to buy a new one. And sometimes they eat your tape, your video cassette tape, your VHS tape, and it gets really sad. The only thing worse than a VCR eating your tape is having a tape that starts to die, that starts to deteriorate. Did I stutter? Deteriorate. Deteriorate. Because it's so scary. You're gonna stutter when there's fear, and when you become more scared, and less confidence. Stutter, stuttering becomes to consume your soul, because that's what happens. You get fear, and I've had fear, so I stutter when I said the word stutter, because I'm scared. Thinking about when tapes die, when they get old and they start falling apart, and then the quality of the video and audio on those video cassette VHS tapes starts to fall apart and get worse, and then eventually someday, many years later, maybe 10 years or more than 10 years, the tape starts to fall apart, and then you won't know what's on the video, and then whatever was on the video will start to look worse, and then soon it will be gone, and then you won't have it anymore. And I started thinking about that later as I got older, like 2001 or so. I started thinking about videotapes and how they will fall apart. My home videos were on VHS video cassette tapes, and then also VHS C tapes too later on, the smaller video cassettes, because I had smaller camcorders at different times later, like 2001 or 2002, 2003, and then a few times years later after college, after that, after I graduated high school. After I graduated high school in 2004, and then I was doing college, and then I was living on my own in Portland, Oregon, like 2008, and then after 2008, a few times I had different camcorders, and they were smaller too. But actually, they didn't take cassettes, so they didn't take VHS-C tapes, so I didn't really have to worry about tapes anymore recently. The last, I don't know, 5, 7 years since after college. I was in college till like 2007. Because, I went, like, after I graduated high school in 2004, I went to New York to do a Bible college, or Word of Life Bible Institute, for 2 years. It is a 2-year college, and I got a certificate for the first year and a diploma for the second year. And then I went to another college, Appalachian Bible College in Bradley, West Virginia, and it's like a 4-year college, and they have other programs too that go beyond 4 years. And I was taking a pastoral Greek major, and I was working, so I was doing work study to make sure I can pay off the intuition, the room and board, all my bills that I needed to pay to the college, and I was trying to pay everything, and I was there, 2006, 2007, but then I took out my first and only student loan for $3,500 that I'm still paying off each month for like $50. I give the loan people $50 a month, or like maybe a year or two ago, like 2011, 2012 or something, I had lots of money, or I didn't really have a job, and I was running out of money, so I called them, or they actually called me first, and I told them my situation, and they're like, okay, you can pay less money. You don't have to pay $50 a month. So I started paying like $16 or $18 a month. But like, I graduate. First I'm homeschooled, then I do high school, then I go to New York for college, and then I go to West Virginia for college. But then I'm running out of money, and I'm taking out a student loan, and then I'm spending a lot of time trying to look for money, like look for like scholarships and yeah, I started looking for scholarships on the internet, and or looking for another job, like walking around, going to a mall nearby. We still probably still there. Like have this. There's this mall that is like a few blocks away from the college in West Virginia, and I would go there and try to apply for jobs at the different stores at the mall, and but I never really found a job. But I was also like busy already because I was working every single meal in the cafeteria, washing dishes or doing food prep, or serving the food to the other students, or counting the people that would come to eat. As a counter, I would just count the people and keep track of that. And so all these different things in the cafeteria, like literally every single meal, except for like one meal, like Sunday morning, I didn't work. I didn't work the breakfast of Sunday morning, which is okay because I would want to go to church, you know, to worship God, kind of thing, like a community Baptist church. You know those buildings with crosses on them, kind of thing. But I was still running out of money, and then I wasn't studying, and then I was getting bad grades. And later on, I was in colleges. I went to two other colleges too in Portland, Oregon. The Portland Community College, that's PCC, and the Mount Hood Community College. And I took some classes there, like typing and web design and English and maybe math and um and I had this like exercising class too with PCC, the Portland Community College, like 2009 or something. I can't remember which year, but around that time. And it was the exercising class was like basically like pedal a bicycle, and that's what I did. And so it's like, okay, this is what we do in our class. It's almost like a PE class, but all you do is you pedal a bicycle, a stationary bicycle. And there was like a cute girl next to me, and I would look at her, and she would look at me. But then I never really talked to her, so nothing happened. And I kind of told myself, don't talk to her because you don't really have time, whatever. You got to do these other things. With in the course of my life, I would always do that. And I had different reasons. I always had different reasons at different times, and some of the reasons are better than others. And I could probably talk to you for hours about whether or not that was right or good or better or wrong, or whether or not I missed opportunities, or whether or not it was okay. And I kind of go back and forth with whether or not that was okay or not. I think about it. But for now, all I can say is that it happened. I was in school, and especially when I was in my second college, I was worried the most that I would run out of money, and then I wasn't studying, and then I started getting bad grades when I was in my second college. That's Appalachian Bible College, with the president of the college, who is Mr. Dan Anderson. And the college is in West Virginia, and I took out my student loan, and I started getting bad grades. And when your grade starts to go down, some like scholarships and financial aid start to go away, and then the administration people, they talk to you and they say, Joey, why aren't you getting good grades? Mr. Arnold, what's wrong? You need to study more. You need to be focused more. Or okay, let's develop a plan to help you. But my grades were still on the decline. And then I would hear about my mom. I would talk to my mom like on the phone, and then sometimes maybe like on email or MySpace, or later on it was Facebook. I started joining. I think I joined Facebook in the year 2007 or 2006, maybe 2006, 2007. It was during the year that I was in West Virginia at Appalachian Bible College. But like, I was talking to my mom, and my dad was leaving her around that time, 2006, 2007. And my mom was like running out of money. Like, she didn't have a job at the time, I don't think, and she needed money, and she had credit cards, and the credit cards were like supported by other credit cards, and then she would get another credit card to pay for that credit card, and it was kind of like a cycle that was just getting worse and worse. Like, she was like getting more in debt, and she needed help. And then I told her, I'm gonna go home at the end of the school year and try to help you. So it was like in May 2007, at the end of my first year at the Appalachian Bible College, I come home, and I'm living at home with my mom. It's just me and my mom in the trailer that I was raised in Forest Grove, in the Rose Grove Mobile Home Park. It's a trailer park that I was raised in. And I wasn't born there. I was born in a hospital, the maple syrup hospital. So I'm really sweet because I was born in a hospital full of maple syrup. Just like my tree in the front yard was a maple syrup tree, I think, maple syrup or something like that. Some kind of sap would come out of. Okay, so the hospital wasn't actually called maple syrup. Maybe it was. I don't know. Like, it had a nice name, but like whenever I try to think of the name, I think of maple syrup. So if I was not born in a maple syrup hospital or a Candyland hospital, maybe I'm not as sweet as I think. So for all you ladies out there, maybe I'm not as sweet as I think, but I try my best. And you should give me some points and say that I was sweet for trying to come home to help my mom. I came home and I was living with my mom, and then I ended up working as a camp counselor, a wilderness counselor at a Salvation Army camp in Boring, Oregon. It's Camp Karatli of Trestle Land, and I started working with Michael Kurtz, who is the head director, or was the head director of the wilderness program, which is for the teenagers who goes to the camp. They go and they stay at the camp for like 5 days, for a week, and they come with us, and we go hiking in the woods, and we don't have tents, but we have like tarps and sleeping bags and things to survive out in the woods, and we do activities and games and lessons and songs, and we eat and we learn things and learn about each other, and we just have different adventures as we're hiking, and the kids are with us for 5 days, and then they go home, and then the next week new kids come, and we go hiking with them for a week, and then they go home, and then new kids come the next week after that, and then every week new kids for the whole summer, like about 8 weeks. In the last 2 weeks of June, and then July, and then like 2 weeks in August, and then that's the whole summer, which is sometimes it could be like a short summer, but at the same time it's like a really long summer in a way. If you think about all the different things that happen, it's just long. And when I say long, to me, I think about it and I'm saying like not long in a bad way, but it depends on the day and stuff. Like, oh, will this day ever end, kind of thing. So life can be pretty complex, but sometimes simple too. Sometimes time can fly by. It's like, oh, what happened to the day? The day's already over. And other times, like, the day could be the longest day ever. And it depends on so many different things. But I was working at the camp, the Salvation Army camp, and I was a wilderness counselor, and that was really exciting because before I'd been a counselor at Word of Life camps in New York at the first Bible college I was going to, the Word of Life Bible Institute, because it's also a camp called the Ranch during the summer, and some of the students at the Word of Life Bible Institute work at that same camp that is literally in the same place as the Bible college, and they work there, and they work in the different areas of the camp, in the food department, preparing the food, the meals for people, or in the maintenance, where you work and make sure everything looks good outside with the trees and the grass, and just making sure everything is working, the sprinklers, the pipes, the electricity, all these different things in maintenance and landscaping and in the cafeteria, and you have program staff, and you have all these different jobs at a camp to make sure the camp is running smoothly. And then you have the counselors that are like the parents and the teachers and the babysitters the guardians, the bodyguards of the kids. And they keep track of the kids, and that's what I was doing. I was a counselor for 2 summers at the ranch, which is at the Word of Life Bible Institute in New York, and they also have another camp in the northern part of California, and it just so happened to be a camp that I used to go to when I was younger as a camper from 1993 to 2003. Every single year, I would go for 1 week to this Word of Life camp in California, and it was like the most exciting thing I've ever done. And it helped me in my life become a better person, develop some of my skills, including the skills of being in drama, which is, this video is just about me and how I decided to join the drama class and do more acting and be more public and be more open and comfortable around people. And then I started talking about other things and I started going rabbit trails, but I'm still here to remind you that this video is just about one little thing, so this video should be over already. But I'm still talking because I really want to tell you a few little things, like, I was working at Word of Life camps, and it was really good and really exciting to help out, to be a counselor for 2 summers in New York, and then also like for 2 weeks in 2005. I went to California to be a counselor there, because the camp there is a Word of Life camp in California, but it's only for 2 weeks each year, each summer. So in 2005, I was able to go there and work there that one time. It's like going back to your home camp, a camp that you used to go to as a camper, as a kid, and it's like you revisit it. And now you're not the kid anymore, you're not the camper now you're the counselor, and it was really like amazing, and I was honored to be on the other side of the fence. You start out as a kid on one side of the fence, and then you grow up and come back. Now you're on the other side of the fence as a leader, looking back at the kids, kind of thing, and you're like, you remember when you were a kid, and you understand how they are. Some people don't as much because they forget what it's like to be a kid, like Peter Pan did in Hook, and he becomes a lawyer and nobody really knows. Well, some people kind of know, but he doesn't know, and that's what I'm trying to say. And he forgets who he is until later on, spoiler alert, in the movie Hook of Steven Spielberg. Like, he forgets who he is, and that totally ruined him. You should still be a kid at heart and still remember what it's like to be a kid and be able to relate and sympathize and empathize with the kids to an extent, not to be like, you know, spoil the kid. Don't spoil the kids like I spoil you with movie reviews and tell you everything that happens in the movie, give you spoil alerts. Don't spoil a kid like it's an only kid, an only child. You know how you have parents and they only have one kid, kind of thing, and they give the kid more presents during Christmas and their birthday because they only have one kid, so they can spend more money on their kid. When you have more kids, you spend less money because you only have like 1 or 2 jobs or something, so you only have so much money, and more kids you have, the more money you have to spend, so you kind of have to divide it and give each kid less stuff. And if you have one kid, then you can just give him everything, and you spoiled him. You just spoil him. So you try not to, but at the same time you want to understand how kids think, and I try to do that the best I can. It was really, really exciting to go back and work at that camp, and just to work at different camps in New York, in California. While I was a student in my first college, the Word of Life Bible Institute, I was able to be a counselor too during the summer, and also during the winter we have a snow camp at the Word of Life Bible Institute, for 8 weeks. In like January, February, and March, we just have tons of snow, and it's kind of like the summer camps, except it's just for the teenagers. During the summer, I was working at a camp, at the Word of Life Bible Institute, but it's for younger people, from the ages of like 5 years old till like 13 years old. But then during the winter, January, February, March, it's for teenagers. So that's like 12 or 13 year olds, all the way to like 19 year olds, and that's a little different because like older kids are more responsible. Maybe you don't have to hang out with them all the time. Maybe they can walk around the camp by themselves. Maybe, even though I think the rules were like always make sure you know where your campers are and make sure you can see them at all times. But I didn't always follow those rules, and at a few times I may have lost my campers during snow camp. And snow camp is really exciting. Snow camp may be more exciting than the other camps, besides wilderness camp, maybe? I'm not sure. Wilderness camp is a little different. I'm not exactly sure how to compare it, but I just know that snow camp, it had more basketball, since teenagers probably play more basketball than younger people. And it had like this hill that you slide, you go sledding on, and they had hockey, they had a lot of different sports. They had horses, they had archery, they had paintball. They had paintball during the summer too, and some of these things they had during the summer too, and it was really really exciting. But then, I did these. I was working at these camps in New York and California during the summer and during the winter, and I was also involved with a children ministry team during my 2 years at the Word of Life Bible Institute, and we would go around to different schools and churches and different events, and we would just like be in charge of them, or we would help out with different events, different things for kids, teenagers, and we would have different presentations, games, lessons, activities, songs. Um, we would we would show them like drama skits. You know, they would sit down and we would be in front of them, and we would do a play in front of them, a skit in front of them, or a puppet show. We have all these different things, and we would do it like during the weekend, because during the weekdays we were in school and we had classes and we had to study. But then like during the weekends we would go out, and we would, as a team, there was like around 10 of us, or maybe more than 10, and we would hop in a van, and we're in New York, but sometimes we'd go to different places in New York, or we would go to other cities, other states, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Rhode Island, different places in New York, Philadelphia, this the surrounding states, and I was involved with that ministry during the 2 years that I was going to the Word of Life Bible Institute in Pottersville, New York, and it was breathtaking. It was just something that enhanced who I was, beyond a lot of other things in my life. This was really really fundamental, and so I really enjoyed being a counselor and all the other things that I was doing at the Word of Life Bible Institute, and then I really liked being at the Appalachian Bible College as well. And then I went back home and I worked at a Salvation Army camp, and that was really good. And then at the end, I came home at the end of the summer in 2007, and I gave my money to my mom because I really wanted to help my mom. And then I went on and I did Revolution Hawaii, and then I came back home, and at that time my mom was she was about to marry somebody else because my mom and my dad were divorced in the next year after 2007 in 2008, and my mom is now living in another city and is about to marry a guy, Bill Cunningham, that she knew from high school, that her father didn't want her to marry. But then later, in 2008, her father was like, okay. Or so I don't know what he said, because I wasn't there, but it's like, okay, it's okay if you marry him now. You know, never mind what I said 30 years ago, or however many years ago that was, back when you were like 20 or so, and now you're like 50 or 60. So that's like, what, 30, 40 years? And so basically, she got her father's blessing, and that's good. But then later in that year, like at the end of October, my mom's dad died. And also my uncle died, Jim Williams, in August 2008. And I was gonna go and live in Long Beach, California, and work at the Salvation Army Corps, SURE. I was gonna work at the Salvation Army in Long Beach, California, where they do the different ministries that they do with helping people. And I knew the youth pastor there, Lincoln Hawk. But then for some reason, he kind of said, well, maybe you shouldn't come anymore. I kind of wanted you to come, but now I think you shouldn't. So it's like, that was my plan. I was going to go there and do that and help him and live there, but then he said no, and this is kind of like a long story. So a long story short, it didn't happen, and then I didn't have a backup plan, and then I went back home, back to the trailer that I was born and raised in, and my dad was there, and I was there for a month, and then I had my own apartment in Portland, Oregon, and I was a dishwasher at the Kel's Irish Restaurant, and after school assistant at the Daniel Grouch Elementary School. And then they took me off the schedule, or they fired me from both of those jobs. I was taken off the schedule at the restaurant and fired from the school. Then I didn't have any job. I didn't work. I didn't have any jobs. But then I got unemployment benefits, money from the government. And I was looking all the time for new jobs. And I was surviving on my own. Then I worked at another Salvation Army camp, eventually, in California, in Scotts Valley, California, which is near San Jose and like an hour from San Francisco. And I was there during the summer of 2010, and I was a relief counselor, and I was in the skits during the campfire, so I was partly in the program staff, and I was a relief counselor. So it's like I had 2 jobs or 3 jobs at the same time during that summer. Oh my. Well, what I'm trying to say is that life takes you from one thing to another. When I was in my first college, the Word of Life Bible Institute in Pottersville, New York, I tried out for the drama team. Since I was in drama in high school. I wanted to continue, but I did not make it, and they did not really say a lot. This one guy, who may have been 30 years old, he was young, older than me, since at the time I was 19 years old. I think because that's how old I was when I graduated high school. So, yeah, I was 19 years old in the fall of 2004, and I tried out for the drama team. And the guy said, we're not going to go with you. And that's about all he said. He didn't really say what was wrong with me. It may have been more that he had other people in mind that may have been better than me, or something that he liked more. I don't really know. It was kind of sad, but then I ended up joining the children ministry team, the CMT, and I really loved the leader, the director of that team, John Brown. We call him Giddy. John Giddy Brown. Giddy as in happy. For some reason he had that nickname for being happy and smiling all the time, which is a pretty good nickname. It may not be as cool as oatmeal. That's my nickname. You are what you eat, and I've been eating oatmeal since I was 8 years old. Mostly when I was 8 years old. So you are what you eat, and so oatmeal's really cool, and it makes you really strong. That's what my dad would say. My dad was eating oatmeal as he was growing up. But being happy, like being John Giddy Brown, that's cool too, to an extent. And he was a person that I learned a lot from. And yeah, I really did learn a lot from him, and it's really, really exciting. So like I didn't make the drama team, but I was in the children ministry team, and that involved drama, and I was in a few skits, and I mostly did puppets, puppet plays, which is drama to an extent. It's just a different kind of drama where you don't really show your face, you show the face of the puppet, but you still have to, talk, say your lines, which is like voice acting that they do in cartoons. And so in a way, I was involved in drama, and a certain kind of drama, which I call puppets, which is a kind of drama. It may not be as cool as real acting with your whole entire body, where everybody can see your body. Because in puppets, they don't see your body, they just see the puppet. They don't see your body, but they see the body of the puppet, which is not exactly the same thing. But nonetheless, I was doing something, which is better than nothing. And I learned a lot, and I had a lot of adventures, and met a lot of people. No matter where I am, I'm meeting a lot of people, making friends, having adventures, having laughs, learning, being encouraged, also encouraging other people. It was very interesting. In high school, I was taking drama classes during my last year of high school, and I also joined the drama club that last year of high school as well. And so during school, during the school hours, I would go to my different classes, and then I would also go to my drama class, and that was really, really exciting, and I really loved my drama class. And then after school, I would go to the drama class, which is just like, basically it's just like my drama class, except it's after school, and you don't get credit hours for it. But it's basically the same, and a few times we went on some field trips either it was the drama club or the drama class, and we went to like another city. We hopped on a bus and we went to like another city, like maybe a few hours away, and we went and we did some like workshops. Like basically, like you go to a place and there's all these other high school students from other schools, and we all get together and we have a good time and we learn about drama. So we had like some classes, I think, workshops at this, like it may have been another school, and I can't remember where it was, but it was really exciting to be there and to see all these other people, because we were able to learn, and we're also able to do some exercises like get in a circle and okay, this person is a doctor, and then okay, raise your hand, okay, this person is a scientist, okay, you guys are having a debate, you're having an argument, okay, and then act it out, okay, impromptu, and and that was really exciting, to be around all these people, other people, even people you don't know, especially people you don't know, and do a little bit of acting, and where it's not just like rehearsed acting where you're just like memorize the lines and you know exactly what you do, but real acting where the one actor does something or an actress does something and she says something, you look at her and then you react to her in real time like you would in real life, except you are the character, whatever character that you are that you're playing. You you believe in yourself. You believe that you are that person, and you think, how would that person respond to this situation or to these words or to whatever that's happening, the different situations, circumstances, scenarios, different details, life circumstances, and you think in the moment, and you have to believe that you are that person. You have to act like that person and not act like that you're yourself, or that I'm in a stupid drama class and what did you do? That wasn't your line. You weren't supposed to say that. You can't think like that. You have to think that person actually said that, even though it's not in the script, it's not in the story. Maybe that person wasn't supposed to say that, wasn't supposed to do this, was not supposed to do that, wasn't supposed to do this, wasn't supposed to do that, wasn't supposed to say this, wasn't supposed to go here, wasn't supposed to do this emotion, or do this, do that, say this, say that, go here, go there, stand here, stand there, sit down. It's like, oh, he wasn't supposed to sit down, he wasn't supposed to stand up, or wasn't supposed to hit me. Try not to do that when you're acting. Try to just think, oh, that person did it, okay. Now what am I going to do based on who I am, based on what kind of character that I'm playing, and the details and the circumstances, and what would I do? And then try not to think too hard and sit there just pondering and just react as if you really are that character. And that's the thing about drama. Now I'm sorry that I couldn't really tell you more about drama, and that I had to tell you about other things about my life that may not be related to me just talking about how I started taking drama classes in my last year of high school. You may be thinking about that. You may be thinking, oh my goodness, all these things has nothing to do with drama. And I say it may not look that way, but I feel like it was still kind of important to talk about, to say that, all these different things happened in my life, and it kind of makes me a better actor, and to an extent maybe, or some of the things may have made me a worse actor. But I was involved with different things, and I was in a play when I was like 7 or 8 years old. It was a Christmas play at my church, and I was a shepherd, and that was like my first one. Oh, maybe I was involved. I was in another play before. Maybe I was 5 years old, or a few years before I was 7 years old, or something like. I was in another play for like Christmas, but it was at another church. When I was 7 years old, I was a shepherd in a play, a Christmas play at community, Cornelius Community Baptist Church, and that's the one I would go to on Sunday and on other days to the most. During the course of my life, from the day I was like born, since my mom would go there, and my family would go there too sometimes. So since I was born, with my mom, we would go there all the way until I was like 18 years old or maybe 15 years old, and there was other churches too that I started going to, and then there was this other there may have been this other church that we were going to, like in Forest Grove or something, probably Forest Grove, and I was like 5 years old, and it may have been like downtown Forest Grove, and I may have been in that play, and it may have been a Christmas play, and I didn't have any speaking lines. I don't think I was just like an animal. So I was walking on all four, but still I was in there. I was in the play. I actually get credits on that at the end of the movie when the credits roll. Put my name on the list. Animal 578, played by Joey Arnold. When he was 5 years old, or I was younger. And then I was a shepherd. When I was like 7 years old, and then I started doing all these different things that I tell you about, like Bible clubs and basketball and all these different things helps you become a better actor because it helps you become a better person, and when you become a better person, you become a better actor because actors are people. It's related. As you know how to be comfortable around people, you become comfortable around other people, because when you act, you can't totally fake who you are. You can't totally be something that you're not. When you look at some of the famous actors out there, they're basically acting like themselves. Sometimes they're kind of like, they do different things and different accents, and they can play different characters to an extent. But for the most part, when you look at an actor or an actress, you see the actor more than you see the character. I mean, not totally, not completely. I understand that every character looks different, and sometimes you may not even recognize the actor, and you're like, what? That actor was this person, and later on he was in another movie and he was this character. And sometimes they wear a lot of makeup too, and that helps, or a mask or something. But regardless of those details of playing different characters and having different accents and all, talking a little different, and walking a little different, wearing different clothes, and all these different details, the actor is still the actor, and the actor is still the same person. And when you look, like at Will Smith, for example, he's still the same person in all the different movies. I mean, he may act a little different, or look a little different, talk a little different in different movies, and some may be better than others, but he's still Will Smith. And he would not be picked for those roles if he did not have confidence in who he really was. And that means working on yourself in becoming a better person, and being more confident with who you really are, with your integrity, your character, your attributes of who you really are, and how you live life, and how you react and respond and act and proact around people in your life, in your day-to-day life, in your private life, in your public life, when you're not acting. And not just when you're acting, but just in your life. As you work on that, you become a better person. And when you become a better person, you act better, because better people act better. Because they're better. And when you're better, you're better. Can't believe it's not butter. Those things go together. And so all these different things that has happened in my life are related to acting and being in drama, because these things were making me a better person. And that's what I was trying to tell you. I was just telling you this big, long story about my biography and my journal, my diary, of all the different things that happened in my life. Oh, I went to college, and I went to this college, I went to that college, and then I was involved in these different ministries, and I have this job and I have that job, and I went here and I lived here and I lived there, and I met this person, I met that person, and this person died, and oh no, I cried, and then this person died, and this happened, I met this person, and then this person ran away because I called him a dog, or I called him ugly, and this happened, and then that happened, oh no, and then this happened. But as these things happen, you gain experience in your life, and you become a better person. You don't have to become a better person. It's all up to you. But I believe that I was becoming a better person and developing skills as I was experiencing different things in my life, and as I was going through different things, and I was becoming better. It's it's just something that I kind of believe. It's hard to explain, but I think it was really interesting, and if I were to go back, I think I would tell myself to join the drama club and to take drama classes in ninth grade. Now, would I tell myself to go to public school before ninth grade and not do homeschool? Like maybe just go to public school in first grade and forget about my mother, forget about homeschool, do public school, and then maybe that would give me more human interactions that would then help me become a better actor, and then maybe I'd be discovered when I was 14 years old and I'd just go to Hollywood and make movies. Would I tell myself to do public school instead of high school? I mean, what am I saying? I did high school because I was old enough to do high school, I think, and I was ready, and I really wanted to do high school, and I didn't want to stay in homeschool any longer. So when I was 15 years old, I started doing public high school at the Forest Grove High School in Oregon, home of the Vikings, maroon and gold. So I was ready, and I did it, and I was in high school. I was in public high school, and before that, I was in homeschool. But would I tell myself to not do homeschool and just go straight to public school in first grade? I don't exactly know. Even though there are some good things about being around people and being in public school, I think that I would not change things, and I would not tell myself to do that. I don't think I could handle it. I don't think I would have handled it. I mean, to an extent, it's possible to handle it, but I didn't.